Come on, Fats, so is that all you got? So, it turns out Jack Reacher isn't going anywhere anytime soon, and honestly, nobody seems to mind. Ever since Reacher first landed on Amazon Prime back in 2022, the show's been a pretty big deal. It quickly became one of Prime Video's most watched series, and a lot of that has to do with how satisfying it is to watch a 6 feet 5 inches ex-military guy throw villains through windows like it's just another Tuesday. The show's only 3 seasons deep, but with the way things are going, especially after that high-stakes, adrenaline-pumping Season 3 finale, it looks like the big guy still has plenty of gas in the tank. That's probably why Amazon didn't wait around to see how Season 3 performed before giving the green light to Season 4. Their confidence in the show and its star, Ritchson, is demonstrated by the fact that they made the announcement even before the 3rd season premiered. Fans naturally began asking all kinds of questions, such as who would return, what book would be used for the upcoming season, and how long it would be before we saw Reacher smashing faces once more. The way that Reacher combines action with a feeling of grounded storytelling is what makes it so exceptional. Jack Reacher is more than just a man with angry fists. He previously led the 110th Special Investigations Unit, so he is as sharp as he is strong. Now that he's out of the military, he's basically become a nomad with a knack for landing in situations that spiral into chaos. Wherever he goes, trouble seems to follow, and whether he's stopping a drug ring or dismantling a criminal empire, Reacher never backs down. Season 3 really pushed him to the edge, not just physically, but emotionally too. After taking down a massive counterfeiting ring and settling some unfinished business, Reacher ended the season on a motorbike ride into the sunset. And for a second, it felt like maybe he'd finally hang it up. But let's be real, that's not his style. With Amazon already setting up Season 4, it's pretty clear he's got unfinished business somewhere else. What's interesting is that although the books by Lee Child serve as the source material, the show doesn't really stick to the order. Season 1 followed The Killing Floor, which was the first Reacher novel, but after that, they've been jumping around the timeline. And it kind of works because Reacher's life isn't exactly one long linear story. He drifts, he drops in and out of towns, and the show reflects that freedom by pulling from whichever book makes the most sense for the season's theme. There's been talk, some of it coming straight from Lee Child himself, that the next story could be based on The Midnight Line, which is his 22nd book. That one's got Reacher wrapped up in an opioid-related case, so it's got the right mix of action and timely relevance. But then, Ritchson, who's clearly become just as invested in Reacher as the fans are, mentioned in an interview that he's really into Die Trying, the 2nd book. He said it's his favorite and that he'd love to see the show dive into that storyline because it's more intense and emotionally demanding. The cool part is that the show's flexible format makes this kind of thing possible. Since there's no tight chronological storyline to follow, the creators can pick any book that feels like a good fit without confusing viewers. Even if someone hasn't watched previous seasons, they can jump in without missing a beat, which is pretty rare for a modern action series. Now, when it comes to the cast, things are a little harder to predict. Reacher isn't the kind of guy who forms long-term friendships, at least not the kind that follow him from town to town. So the cast usually gets a refresh each season. The one person who might break that pattern, though, is Frances Neagley, played by Maria Sten. She's been with him since Season 1, and she's one of the few people Reacher actually trusts. Neagley used to be part of the same military unit and now works as a private investigator, popping up whenever Reacher needs a hand. Even though her return hasn't been officially confirmed for Season 4, fans are hoping she shows up again, especially since Sten has expressed interest in continuing with the character. She's also set to appear in a spin-off based on Without Fail, another book from the series, which could mean even more Neagley content down the line. Still, Reacher storylines tend to reset each season, so unless there's a strong reason to bring her back, the show might go with a whole new set of allies and enemies this time around. As for what went down in the Season 3 finale, it got intense. Reacher found himself caught up in a mess involving a guy named Xavier Quinn, someone from his past who still had a serious score to settle. The season started with Reacher going undercover to help DEA agent Susan Duffy and ended with him facing down Quinn, a ruthless former military intelligence officer who had killed someone close to Reacher back in the day. There was a whole operation involving smuggled weapons disguised as a rug business, and Reacher had to use every skill he had to bring Quinn down. And that showdown, it was wild. For once, Reacher had to face someone even bigger than him, which isn't something you see every day. Watching those two giants go at it in hand-to-hand combat gave fans everything they wanted, but it wasn't just about the brawl. There was a deeper emotional layer too. The season revealed more about Dominique, a young officer Reacher mentored, who was tragically murdered by Quinn years earlier. That loss haunted him, and finally getting closure added more weight to the whole season. Of course, Reacher being Reacher, once he dealt with Quinn, he didn't stick around for long. After all the chaos, he hit the road again, ready for whatever's next. And even though it felt like a good stopping point, the show made it clear that his story is far from over. Now, fans are wondering when Season 4 might actually drop. Since Season 3 just wrapped up at the end of March, we're probably going to have to wait a bit. But the good news is that Lee Child already confirmed the script for the next season is finished, and filming is supposed to start this summer. Given how fast they turn around Season 3, there's a decent chance we could see Season 4 sometime in 2026. Now, that's not too bad considering how long some shows make you wait between seasons. What really makes Reacher work, though, is how straightforward it is. There's no complicated mythology or multiverse nonsense. It's just one guy trying to do the right thing, even if that means busting a few skulls along the way. Alan Ritchson totally embodies that no-nonsense attitude, and it's clear that the role has taken his career to a whole new level. People love watching Reacher because he's the kind of character who steps in when no one else will. As Neagley once said, it's not about protecting the little guy, it's about making sure the big guys don't get away with it. So, while Season 4 is on the horizon and we're still waiting for more details to drop, one thing's for sure. This won't be the last we see of Jack Reacher. He's the kind of hero who doesn't need a cape or a catchphrase, just a solid right hook, a sharp mind, and a stubborn refusal to let injustice slide. And with a bunch of books still left to adapt, it looks like Reacher's journey is far from over. And that's a wrap for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, and hit that subscribe button to stay up to date, especially if you're hyped for Reacher Season 4 and beyond. I'd love to hear your thoughts on today's topic, so jump into the comments and let's chat. Got ideas for future videos? Drop those in the comments too. I'm always open to your suggestions. Until next time, take care, and we'll see you in our next video.